Hey guys, Anna here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to another speed build. Today we're in the world of San Sequoia and we are building a 6x4 bedroom family home. This is a massive family home. So quite a long video today, so make sure you have a snack, maybe grab some water or some coffee or tea. And just kind of settle in for this. So this particular build came about because in my personal game, I needed a bigger house. So I mentioned this in, when was it? Earlier in the month, where we were building that bungalow, the family bungalow. You might have remembered at the start of the month. And I mentioned that was a 3x1. So I was playing in that particular household and my Sims had a child. That's great. Lovely. So, and then I thought, oh yeah, we'll try for a baby. They ended up with twins as well. So you had a infant and then two newborns. So I automatically outgrew the house very quickly. So the idea was to build a family home that would be for that particular personal style. So I really enjoyed that. So in this particular build, there are certain rooms and layouts that is beneficial for that particular household. But of course, if you did download this build, it is available on the Sims 4 gallery. My gallery ID is Antoinette44. It is in the description below. You can change all that. But it really would be a perfect kind of generational family home because it's massive. I love this lot in San Sequoia. So this is in that top left section, sorry, of the world, that kind of seaside, and it is a larger lot, and I definitely I think I used a good amount of this lot and then for the house in terms of scaling. So it's 2 bedrooms. As I said, it is a 6x4. You have a I guess you could say it's a master bedroom. I think ideally you would use it as a spare room. So there's kind of like a spare room on the ground floor. You then have a nursery, so a big nursery on the ground floor. And I wouldn't normally include something like this, but of course in my personal gameplay, I needed that particular item, that particular space. Upstairs, we have 3 further 4 bedrooms. Yes, we have a formal master bedroom upstairs with an ensuite, and we have 3 child's rooms. All decorated, fairly girly, but they're all very different. But again, this is for like my personal save. But if you were to download this, you can chop and change it. All right, so we're very much done with the exterior of this build in terms of like the shell. So this is pretty much the shell of the build. I love this layout. I think it's wonderful. I did struggle with the windows on the upper floor. I didn't know how to style it because there wasn't a lot of space, as you can see with how the roofing is. But I really like it. I like the use of dormers. I like the use of the bump outs. I think it's just such a lovely build. And I think it was at this point where I used the brown that this particular build kind of took a little bit of a rustic feel. This house reminds me of like some inspiration photos I saw of houses that were built in Texas. It kind of has that kind of rustic kind of vibe. But I don't know, it might fit well in Chestnut Ridge, which is the world that came with the Horse Ranch expansion pack. But I don't know, it kind of just came that way. I did use the stone wallpaper that came from Horse Ranch, which is this one here. And I've just paired it with this brown sliding, and it just works so well. And it just kind of set the tone of the build. All right, so we're moving inside to kind of like map out the floor plan. Do I start with the stairs? I think I do. I've used the flooring that comes with, is this a newer flooring? I think we got it as part of an update potentially. And I really like it. So we have gone in with the Growing Together spandrels. We've used the windows from Growing Together. And I think University are these larger windows. And I think it's decorated a little bit on a rustic side. I know the kitchen is anyway. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about that floor plan. So you walk in and you've got like a basic hallway, and then I believe it's coming back to me. I know that you have a very open space to the left hand side of the build, and in there you've got your kitchen, your dining. I believe you even have a breakfast table potentially, and we have laundry in this particular build, I believe. Which is quite nice. It's only a small room, but I was able to fit it in. Okay, so we are mapping out some landscaping. We're putting in a fake garage because obviously I had a big lot and I thought, why not add in this? And I've been doing it in a lot in more of my recent builds, especially a lot of the builds that I built for March and April had a lot of these kind of faux garages, and it was just such a great use of the space to add in extra skill building. And then I've started with the landscaping. I've gone in with some cypress trees. I had a lot of space in this far side. I have put in some trees, but I think I delete that and actually put in a tree house. Do I put a tree house in this build? I believe so. Interesting. We've gone with the palm trees that come in from Island Living. I prefer the ones from Island Living than the base game. And I think, as mentioned in an earlier build, this particular area has a lot of palm trees in San Sequoia, so it kind of fits in. But it's very kind of weird because you've got that kind of rustic feel, but then you're putting palm trees. I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think it looks good? Is it a bit out of place for your liking? How do you feel about that? Okay, so we've gone in with some, I think they're the pink flowers that come from, is it Cottage Living? Like those roses? Or are they daisies? Anyway, I like that little bit of color. I've really cluttered the landscaping in this particular build because I wanted to add more color in, because you've got just such a stark, warm, toned building that you need something else to look at. Okay, I used a snowy escape garage door type sliding doors. I forgot that they were like on a medium wall height. So there was a build, I think, earlier in the month that I wanted to use them, and I forgot that I just couldn't find them, but they were under a different wall height. So I've used them in this build, and I'm very excited to finally have those. In past builds, I've had a pack restricted build, or I was doing base game only, so I could only use the base game to create that effect. So I'm very excited to be able to do that. All right, so this is, yes, the treehouse. I think it's genius. I've kind of tacked it onto the side, and it really uses that space, and it doesn't, take away from the formal backyard. We've got a really large pool, seating area, and I'm trying to think of what else I have in this backyard. I don't know if I have any more kids equipment. I might, but then again, we do have the tree house, so we'll have to see. I've used the pool trim that comes from Lovestruck. I put in a large dining table. A lot of this stuff comes from Perfect Patio. I put in a diving board from Get Together. I like it. Oh, yep. So we got a swing set. This swing set, it's one of my favorites, but it's so frustrating that it came with that early bonus content for Growing Together. I really wish that it was accessible to all. I think it's such a lovely swatch in addition to that type of thing. We've got a hopscotch. We've got lots of bikes, kids' bikes, lots of kid stuff, because it's definitely a family home. And again, I wanted to add things in this particular build that I would use in my gameplay. And I put in, obviously, a toddler pool, a little splash pool, And the slide also comes from Growing Together in bonus content, and it's one of my favorites. So it's a shame. All right, we're going in with some final landscaping in this back section. I think I'm just putting all sorts of plants in here and just cluttering up the space. We've got some daisies, hydrangeas, lots of color, more palm trees, and yeah, really framing that back section. And I did put a fence because I've mentioned this in a previous build. I hate that there's not like a fence that to the water. It just kind of backs onto nothing, and I don't know, it doesn't work for me mentally. Anyway, so we've done that. We are starting the floor plan. So I've gone in with the stairs. So yep, it's coming back to me now. So the stair placement was a tricky one because I wanted to best utilize the downstairs. So I put in a staircase, and putting in that staircase created that small room behind the staircase, and that is what is the laundry. So you walk in, and this big space here is like what I mentioned. It is got your kitchen, and I believe it's kitchen, dining. Is it called living? I don't know if it's got a living room in this section because if the size of this particular build, it may be the living room might be on the other end of the house. Yeah, I think it is. I think we have a dining table. We might even have a breakfast table as well. But this is looking a bit modern. But I like it. These chairs are from Seasons and I never use them. But they just kind of worked well with that modern vibe that the base game kitchen set was giving. Yep, I do put in a breakfast table as well. So, yeah. And again, modern. This is from Dream Home Decorator. I've gone around with my favorite curtains at the moment, which are from the Modern Luxe kit. And yeah, just putting in some of these railing bits. I think I do delete some of them because they just look a little bit out of place. I don't know. I've got in a kettle. I'm trying to think of what else we put in this space because it does seem quite bare. I know I was struggling with this particular space because it did feel like it was a little bit bare, and I was trying to think of what to put in it. I ended up, oh yep, so I've got some stuff for pets. I believe they have a cat from memory, this particular household. And I'm trying to think if they're on the gallery. I usually save my households to the gallery, so it might even be on the gallery, the family. It's the Kilpatrick household. But I don't know if the version I have on the gallery would have the children in it though. But anyway, you'll have to see. All right, so I believe this is the other end of the house. So this is the right side, and yes, we've got a living room on the right side. I love this buffet table that came with the refined living room kit. And of course, we're using the refined living room kit. I'm just really into it. It's like, oh, no, actually, sorry. These are the the lounges that come from the Comfy Kish kit. Oh my God, there's so many kits. Paired with, see, this doesn't look modern at all. See, this is crazy. This is what I mean. I'm all over the shop. Some bits are modern, some areas are more traditional, some areas are just cozy and old-fashioned, and then some areas are super modern. So yeah, in this particular space we have a piano, we have a formal living room, we've got a kind of like a study nook. I love this bookcase. This came with a refined living room kit. I think it pairs well with the other assets. I did struggle with the warm tones of the wood colors because I felt that in the newer kits, there's a different shade of brown to what's in the much older content. So that was a bit of a struggle. All right, so also on this right side, we have that downstairs kind of spare bedroom, that nursery, and a bathroom. So you've got this hallway that we've created. So you go through this archway, that larger room there, that is the spare bedroom. And then across from there, you have a bathroom and then a big nursery at the bottom. Speaking of upstairs, we are going upstairs to do the floor plan. came about really simple. Really simple. So that larger area to the left side, that is the big master bedroom. I do put in a ensuite. You then have 3 bedrooms and a bathroom upstairs as well. Yep. So I do. Yeah, I'm just fiddling around with where I want that ensuite to go because I was like, that master bedroom is huge. So in my personal gameplay, I believe I've started to use the spare bedroom as their bedroom just because like the kids are very young and it's much easier to have the nursery on the same floor as the bedroom. So we've done that. And then yeah, other than that, you've got the laundry space. I've paired in obviously some of the wallpaper from the exterior, brought that in as like a splashback. And the main wallpaper for the house is this paneling. I think it comes from Dine Out and it's a very simple modern paneling. And I think that wallpaper was the other aspect of this build that I struggled with. And I think it's because I was mixing styles. There are some spaces that are very modern and some spaces that aren't. So having a very modern wallpaper, was that conflicting. All right, so upstairs, we're just mapping out the bedrooms. As I said, we've got 3 very different but girly bedrooms plus a master bedroom. And I've used the Pastel Pop Kit carpet because I felt that this is definitely the type of build that you would have something like that in. So we've gone with that. And I think we're jumping back to the nursery. Oh, I'm all over the shop. I've put in some high chairs. So again, something wasn't right about this space. I don't know. Maybe it was the spacing. I think it's too big for that area. So I do go back to that area multiple times in this video just to double check that I'm happy with it, which I think in the end I am. Right, so we've added a cat tree and I've started putting in some curtains in that spare bedroom, which again is a perfect size. You could have a grandparent in there, you could have an auntie, or you could just have a really big household. You could have a roommate. There's so many possibilities with The Sims to what you can do with that particular space. I really like that I've used the focal wallpaper from the kitchen. I've also used it here in the living room. And I think that it just pulls a little bit of that rustic style from the outside, which I really like. I've gone in with some paintings. And I think we use like a shelving piece. I think it's the one from Snowy Escape, which is quite interesting because, again, doesn't really fit the style. But I think I went with that particular piece because it's more modern. And yeah. Of course, we use a refined living room kit rug, my favorite rug. Lots of child stuff. I use a lot of the Storybook Nursery kit, which is great because I really wanted to use that kit. It was obviously a newer piece of DLC. So that's exciting. I've used those sconces from Growing Together, which I love, which they're kind of modern, which fit the vibe. All right, we are in that downstairs bedroom. This is the first of many, and this is very simple. It's not much going on in here, just because, again, it was just to fill a space, I guess. You could make this particular room into anything you wanted. You could do a gym, you could do a skill building room, you could do a hobby room. Heck, you could make this a small business. You could do whatever you like in that particular space. And then we move into the largest space, which is a nursery. This is a really fun room. I love the curtains that come with the Storybook Nursery kit. I love this. I do love that kind of mauve purpley color. I think we have gone with the green. And this was just such a great excuse to use absolutely everything that came with that pack. So I clutter up the space with all of the shelving and the change table. I've said this before, I don't like that they didn't supply like a bin that goes with a change table like they did in Growing Together. So I have to use that bin, which doesn't really fit the style, but that's okay. Gone in with a diaper bag, clutter piece, and again, I've just put all sorts of just kids clutter. I used a lot of the infants base game stuff in there, and it's just really cozy. And yeah, that's just a space that's more functional. Again, that's the another bedroom that you could totally change to be something else. All right, we are back in the kitchen for what feels like the third time. And we are putting in some upper cabinets and just some extra clutter pieces to just, I don't know, make this space work. Yeah, I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comment section down below. Do you like this area? I'm still on the fence about it, clearly. I think that rug did help. It kind of added a little bit more of the modern vibe. It doesn't look cohesive. I think that's the issue I'm having. All right, this very small room is just going to have some washers and dryers and some clutter pieces. I think I even put the... Do I put the litter box in here? Potentially. If I don't, I probably put it in the downstairs. Oh, no, I do. Yep. I was going to say the downstairs bathroom would have been the other place I would have thought. And then in the hallway, I didn't put a lot in this space. Again, it's just like a landing space, this entryway. Because of how spacious the other two main living areas are, I just didn't put much in there. And also personal gameplay, I don't really like to have stuff that's overcluttered if it's not functional. If it's functional, by all means, add it in, but yeah. All right, we are in the downstairs bathroom, and this is just basic. I really love the combination of the shower tub combo that comes growing together with the sink that comes from Businesses and Hobbies. I love this sink. It's beautiful. We obviously have the sleek bathroom kit, which is also in that same vein. But I do still really like that sink. All right. We are upstairs, and I think we are starting on the bedrooms. So we start with the master bedroom. I really wanted to use like a canopy style bed. I believe this one comes from For Rent. And we've used a lot of that. I think that green color was my inspiration. I really liked that emerald green color. So we've paired it with the red. And I think we use, it serves me right, yes. Yeah. These little couches, well, they're not little, but these love seats that come with Businesses and Hobbies. I love these. I love the texture of them. They just look so cozy and comfy and elegant. And the swatches I was able to pull from the bedspread. So you've got that kind of mustard yellow, that kind of deep, rich red color, the green. We've used my favorite lamps from Businesses and Hobbies. We've also used that mirror that's from Businesses and Hobbies. And I've squeezed in a desk. Why not? And potentially putting a plant in that corner. Maybe? Yeah, so I think this was built around the time that Businesses and Hobbies came out. That's why there's a lot of usage in this particular build. That's how old this is. So this is definitely built back in March, which is good. As I said, I have a backlog, which we are slowly getting through. I'm so excited for next month's content. So the month of June, we are building apartments. We're doing an apartment series. So if you have any ideas of what you would like to see, what type of apartments you would like to see, please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love your feedback. And yeah. All right, we are in the first girls' room. So they're all girls. Did I mention that? Not sure I mentioned that. So yeah, all of the twin newborns plus the infant, they're all females. So they're all, each room has like a girly feel, but they're all different. Again, you could furnish this differently for your particular save. But yeah, I kind of picked a color and just ran with it. So this is a very like purple theme. And I don't know, this kind of looks like I've designed it more for a teenager. I don't know. I guess I was kind of thinking I was going to upload it on the gallery, so maybe I could kind of adapt some of the rooms to be a little bit suitable for an older sim. So I think that's what I've done here. So because this space, yeah, it definitely looks like a teen space. I've used I'm trying to think where that wallpaper comes from. Is it Lovestruck? I really like it. And I paired it with the pastel pop kit. And the bed is from Eco Lifestyle, which is really nice. I've used the flamingo poster, paintings. Yeah, this definitely looks like a teen space, but that's okay. I can obviously change it when that time comes. But in The Sims, there's not very much difference between like a teen and a child anyway, in terms of, yeah. All right. So we've got it. Yeah, I think these rooms were bigger, and I think that's why they've got a double bed as opposed to the first room. This room really pulls into that personality of horses and that kind of rustic feel. I love this bedspread. So this obviously comes from Horse Ranch. This kind of patchwork quilted bedspread. I love the blue. The shade of blue was perfect. It pulls from the blue that's in the wallpaper. And I still think that this has a child type vibe to it, which I think is quite nice. Lots of pastels in this space. It was a weird shaped room. And I forgot to put laundry hampers in all of the bedrooms, which is very standard. And we are now finally into the final space of the home, which is the garage. So I've put in some winemaking stuff. I guess that's what I wanted to use in my personal game. A gym. I always like to put gym equipment in because I think a lot of the careers in the game require that. So I think that that's a good use of the space. All right, we are live in game and we're going through the tour. So you enter in, you have this entryway with these beautiful archways that came from growing together. They're beautiful. And you walk into this kitchen and dining space. You also have a breakfast table. You have a laundry, small laundry, and you then walk through to the other side, the right side of the build. You have this very open living area that also has a lot of skill building in it. You walk down the hall and you have the downstairs bathroom, that spare bedroom, and the nursery, really fun nursery. As I said, I've got the infant and newborns in my game, so I needed that. And then upstairs, you have the master bedroom, the ensuite. You then have the upstairs bathroom and the first child's room, the second kind of teens room, I guess, child's room, and then the sixth bedroom, which is that really fun pastel type child's room. We then head outside. I forgot to furnish the back porch, so that's fun. Apologies for that. If you do download this, you may have to add some furniture there, but there's a really big space there. You could do some more outdoor dining. You could really change it up. So you've got the grill, you've got the pool, you've got some play equipment, you've got some gardening stuff. I've even put the bees, I put marbles, I put hopscotch. You've got the bikes. You've got the wine making stuff, the nectar making stuff, sorry, and you've got the gym equipment. And that is the build today, guys. It's a long one. If you stay to the end, thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.